Hello, good evening, our cherished viewers. Welcome once again to EB2 National Interest Waiver Do It Yourself. My name is Daniel Aniniba, and I'm going to take you through this program once again. Today is another fantastic day that we have received, and we thank God for it. Though it's snowing everywhere around New York, but we still have to do what we have to do. Okay, so I send you greetings from everywhere you are, and I don't want to waste much time. We just have to go straight to our kind of uh, go straight to our business of the day so that we can know what we are going to tackle today. Today is also going to be another interesting episode of teaching people how to file EB2 National Interest Waiver Green Card on their own without an attorney. And I'm happy that we are yielding results. Like I see a lot of people, some posting approvals, some thanking me for all that we do and how it has been helping them to file on their own and getting approvals. Some bringing their work for review and comments and whatever it is, and it's helping them a lot. We really appreciate your feedbacks. So today we are going to learn, okay? It's good that we learn. So over these past few weeks, what we are doing is that we are reviewing USCIS denied decisions. These are very important going forward because like I always say, that mistakes somebody have done, you don't go committing the same mistakes, okay? There is this saying that when the frog in front falls into the pit, the others that follow takes caution, okay? So it's very much important that we review some of these things going forward. So that is basically what our episode today is also still going to base on review. Today we are going to review a very interesting case which borders on proposed endeavor and national importance. Okay, proposed endeavor and national importance. You can't miss this one. You can't just miss this one. Yeah. So before we proceed, of course, one thing you have to know is that this is an educational content. It's not supposed to be an attorney client relation. So please, as you take advice from here. Don't presume it's an attorney-client relationship that we are establishing. We are just educating people on how to go and file these things on their own. So take note of that. Another announcement I want to make is that please, we are appealing to all of you to subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. As the statistics stands right now, you realize that most of our people have not subscribed. If you look at it, we have people, about 62% who have not subscribed. The best you can do for this channel is just to subscribe. Just subscribe to get it to the level it has to be. Share it with your friends, okay? We have people who say, okay, I got your video through a friend. I got your video and I noticed that you're doing very great, but thank you. It helped me a lot. You don't know the helping hand you are giving to somebody by forwarding these videos to them. People may be struggling as well as you are struggling, okay? So share this content, subscribe, okay? Become a member to it so that we can move this channel forward going forward. We also take this opportunity to kind of appreciate our viewers from all geographical areas especially in the United States. Yes, we realize that most of our base, our viewer base, most of the people I interact with are mostly within the United States who are hoping to transition from student visa to a green card. So it's not surprising that we have a lot of viewers from the United States. We also say shout outs to our Pakistani friends who are far away also following our channel. We also say kudos to our Brazilians, like people from Canada, Bangladesh, at times South Korea, Japan. We appreciate all of you. Another thing I want you to let you guys know is that going forward, if you kind of need any help, I'm around my emails and under some of my videos. You can pick it and kind of shoot me an email. Let's say, okay, you want help. You want help with maybe consultation, trying to know about eligibility for EB2 national interest rate. Mind you, there are a lot of people who have been misinformed about this green card. Some have been misinformed by a whole host of lawyers that you don't qualify or don't pursue that route, you don't qualify it. But who knows, you may qualify. Do you have an advanced degree? You trust yourself that you have an advanced degree. Read further and see some of the things you need to qualify for this green card. It's not compulsory that you have to file with a lawyer. If you can do it on your own, if some people have done it on their own, then you can definitely also do it on your own. Okay. So if you want to get that confidence, boosting confidence, shoot us an email. Let us go through your CV word by word and see how we can actually bring your CV as standard up to actually meeting some of these requirements to actually start filing on your own. Another thing that I've realized a lot of people also need help with, which I help people a lot, is the customer's outline. Some people are like, oh, I have a whole lot of stuff. I don't know where to begin from. Can you give me a structured outline that I can follow to draft my petition? I'll be very much grateful to do that and very willing to do that for you. I've also realized that some people also need supervision of the entire work. Okay, so if you even give them the outline, they still want a supervision. So that one is also something I can also help you with. Weekly, going through, having weekly meeting with you, looking at progress reports, how you are going, how everything's going. Do you have any blockade you need help with? Have you meeting challenges you are finding difficult overcoming? That is what this option is for, actually, for those who need that kind of help from me going forward. And also, option 4, you need assistance only with national interest. Of course, it is no doubt that national interest accounts for about 60% of various RFEs in this kind of category. So if you need help with national interest portion alone, come on, you can shoot me an email. I can be able to come to your assistance and let you overcome it, okay? And option 5, let's say that you also have done all the work and you are not confident on yourself. I know you see a lot of people needing this thing a lot, and I'm helping a lot of people. There are people who draft their petition and think, oh, it's 100% all right. And I realize that I'm able to find very fatal mistakes in there. Fatal, yes, fatal, literally fatal, because it can kind of cause a lot of havoc in there. So if you need somebody to review already drafted petition to make sure that your petition is strong and ready to go, if I'm ready to provide that third eye and make that objective comments, don't be scared. Most of the time, trust yourself, you have done a very good job. It's just some kind of minor fine-tuning that you'll be doing that I can also help you to do that. So that is it. If you need help with any of these things, my email is there, right, under some of my videos. I'll try to put it in the comment section of this video. So try and shoot me an email and let's see how we can help you with your application. Yeah, so the recap of last week. Of course, last week we were reviewing and analyzing some denied petitions too. People have viewed it, people are still viewing it, and people are really passing very good comments on it and knowing that it's really helping a lot of people. So what is today's agenda? Today's agenda is very unique. We are going to look at proposed and Divya. And what is the national interest? That is causing a lot of havoc. I call it the necessary evil. Yes, necessary evil, because it's like it's causing a lot of havoc to people. And today we are going to pick one case study, which is kind of giving us a lot of insight as to what officers are looking for when they talk about national interest. So come on, let's go straight into action. But when you ask yourself, and Divya, the proposed and Divya, when you take proposed and Divya, that is one thing you document, especially under chapter 2. That is the merit, national importance, and global importance. The first thing you want to state explicitly is your proposed and Divya. Why are you applying for this thing? What are you seeking to come to the United States to do? And it is a very serious thing to do, which you have to do. You have to. For instance, and it's very delicate. You should be careful. I can't remember the number of times I've gone back and forth with some of the people I'm helping, and we are trying to actually find a good title that will suit them. Because you see, you don't want to be overly generalist, and you don't want to be overly restricted. Okay, whatever you do, you want to be in the middle. Okay, so for instance, when you say that I'm an environmental scientist, applying to become an environmental scientist, that is very generalist, okay? What type of environmental scientist? We have people in air modeling. There are people in soil science. There are people in water research. Even in the water, we have pure water research, water analytics, analytical skills, and we also have wastewater treatment. So which one are you talking about, even in water, okay? So you see that some fields that we state can be very broad, and it can really kind of go a long way to harm your petition. And you don't want to also kind of narrow yourself too much, restrict yourself too much that you are not getting a lot of stuff to write. So be very careful. There should be a middle playing ground of how you select your proposed and Divya. Of course, everybody knows you are an environmental scientist, but who are you? What type of environmental scientist? So you ask yourself, what is your specialty, occupation, or even research? I use research or occupation because you don't only have to be in a research field to apply this. You also have to can be a professional or apply for this. What is your specialty area? Okay. For instance, somebody is into wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment using what? Okay. At time, wastewater treatment, not using maybe chemicals, but using biological species to treat your wastewater. That is your specialist. Okay. So define a niche for yourself. That is the proposed and Divya. define a niche for yourself. What is your specialty? If you are, let's say, for instance, even in environmental side, we have people who are doing like environmental geography, and they are doing specializing in geographic systems, software applications, doing a lot of stuff. Okay, so make sure that you kind of, I don't know, narrow down a bit on a specialty. Don't be too generalist. Okay, I'm applying to become an attorney. Attorney in what? We have immigration attorney, we have litigation attorney, we have business attorney. Okay, attorney in what? Okay, so try and find a specialty for yourself and state that for the beginning part of chapter 2, because that is going to drive the other parts of your petition. If you don't state this thing, the officer will be lost, and that is what mostly generates requests for evidence. Because the officer doesn't even know what you are arguing your case for. What are you applying to come and do? Okay, so that is it. Without wasting my time, let us try and look at a typical example of what really happened with one of the decisions we are going to review today. Okay, so this is a petition which was denied, and the person thought that he has a case, and he went for appeal. Okay, so with the Administrative Appeals Office, the AAO office, and this is quite recent, like December 2022. We try to look at more recent days to see what is the trend are and what is going on. So let's look at it. The petitioner is a drilling engineer. Interesting. Okay, and seeking preference as immigrant classification and a member of profession holding an advanced degree. Wow, good. And a national interest waiver as well. Okay, but the director denied the petition. Texas Service Center, somebody was like, why is that all denials are coming from Texas? Of course, there are some that probably you can notice that it's coming from Nebraska as well. So it doesn't mean Texas Service Center officers are wicked or something. No. Okay, so concluding that the record established that the petitioner qualified for classification as member of professions holding an advanced degree. Okay, so the petitioner qualified. Let me pull this one up. That is always going to be our kind of rubric of drafting a petition. So the petitioner qualified as a person holding an advanced degree. That means if we look at this, we can state that the person actually has met the advanced degree portion. Okay. The person has met the advanced degree portion of whatever he intends to do. Okay. Okay, so yeah, the person has an advanced degree. Okay, so this thing is met. Okay, let me lower this thing. Let's read on. Okay. Sorry. Okay, now let's move on and see what is happening. The person meets advanced degree. Then why was he denied? Let's look at it. But the petitioner has not established that the waiver of the job offer and tax labor certification will be of national interest. Okay. The petitioner have not established this thing. Okay. So that means the person is having problem with the second line of decision making, which is what? The national interest part of it. Okay. Yeah. So national interest is becoming a bane in a lot of thorn in the flesh of a lot of applicants, and it's very much important that we deal with some of these things. I'm going to skip the law because the law talk about eligibility, how one can be eligible for national interest or whatever it is. I presume at this point you know it. Now let's go to the analysis. Okay. The director found that the petitioner qualifies as member holding advanced degree. Of course, we have seen that. Although the director found substantial merit in the proposed Divya, the director concluded that the record did not establish that the petitioner's Divya has national importance. Okay, so that second line of decision making was flopped. The director also concluded that the record did not satisfy the second and the third prongs. Oh, okay. So the person did not only flop at this point, the person is also flopping at the second prong test, which is mostly the chapter 3, and the third prong test, which is the unbalance. Okay, the person actually flopped on this kind of decisions. So it was some kind of a boilerplate RFE. Okay, and such RFE is very disheartening. I always tell people that even if you get RFE, try and minimize it. Something simple that you can deal with. But when you get an RFE saying you didn't meet second, you didn't meet third prong, the officer is literally telling you that to withdraw and refile again. That's why when people try to approach me to help them with RFE, it becomes very difficult because if it's a boilerplate, then of course you will have to draft everything from scratch and do your convincing from scratch. Okay, so take note of that. Now, let's just read on and see what happened. For the reasons discussed below, the petitioner has not established that waiver of job offer is warranted. Now, the first prong tests, substantial merit and national importance. We know that, of course, this area can be in the business, entrepreneur, science, and technology. He said that initially the petitioner described his experience and background in the field of mechanical engineering. Look at the mistake the person did. He first of all described his experience in mechanical engineering and drilling and wells engineering. Two proposed and Divya. You see, that's very much important that you state one proposed and Divya and stick to it. Don't be jumping from one proposed and Divya to another. When you do that, you are making your case worse. Select one specialty occupation and stick to it and build your petition on that. Okay? You can't be jack of all. You want to be a mechanical engineer at the same time you want to be a drilling and wells engineer. What? You'll be working like 20 hours a week. 20 hours a day, or dividing yourself for occupations. So be specific. Maybe I want to be even mechanical engineering is too much generalist. Okay, in mechanical engineering there should be a field specific specialty, whether automotive engineering, fluid compressor specialist, whatever it is. You know yourself in mechanical engineering, some of the fields you can go into. But even let's assume that the person going through drills and wells engineer, it would have been very good to stick to it. Okay. And indicated that he was seeking employment in these fields. What? You are seeking employment in two fields. It's never done. In national interest waiver, this is never done. Don't try to do that. Don't try to hop from one field to another. It's not worth it. Okay. Stick to one field. The petitioner also submitted a supporting letter. Yeah, I think the supporting letter was very good. It says that the petitioner will be able to significantly contribute to the U.S. economy because the United States economy runs on oil and gas. Drilling engineers, of course, that's what they are doing. They drill wells for exploration of oil and gas. We call it hydrofracturing, okay? So it was a very good field, especially in the pandemic era where the U.S. is running high on gas prices. This guy could have gotten a lot of national interest to write on, okay? Yeah, but how did he really have to go about doing the national interest? We will look at that, okay? So the petitioner was a drilling engineering experience, had a drilling engineering experience, will enable the oil and gas industry to expand and grow and develop exploits in this resource. The U.S. and especially the state of Texas is developing energy in shale in an advanced process that is latest in drilling technologies and equipment, playing a big role in hydraulic fracturing. Okay, we call it hydrofracturing. Okay, so that's how most of the oil stuffs are drilled from the U.S. through wells. Okay, especially in the state of Texas. Now, the petitioner or the recommender actually wrote this, which wasn't bad, but let's look at it. It says that the petitioner claimed that his work has both substantial merit and national importance because the fields of mechanical engineering and drilling and wells engineering have substantial intrinsic merits. Look at it, okay? So he's combining two rules, so he's confusing himself. Mechanical, oil and drilling engineering, or whatever it is. Stick to one, okay? You have to stick to one. The petitioner also claimed that the continued dissemination of established work in the field will impact all parts of the nation. That is a very general statement to do. How does it impact all parts of the nation? Okay. Now, the director issued an RFE, request for evidence, noting that continuing employment in one field or industry is not an individual sufficient to evaluate under the Danasa analytical framework. The director asked the petitioner to specify the exact nature of the proposed endeavor. I told you, okay? Specify, be specific. What do you want to do, gentlemen? Okay, so the director asked the petitioner to specify the nature of the proposed endeavor and requested evidence to demonstrate the endeavor's substantial merit and national importance. Now, let's look at in response to the RFE. The guy is still or he or she is still kind of committing himself or herself. In response, the petitioner indicated in a statement of intents that is his own statement, that his proposed endeavor is to continue career working in drilling and wells engineering. So he has now accepted one and ignored the mechanical, which is good, which has direct applications throughout our oil and gas industry. He further stated, as I noted in my NIW case, my goal is to continue generating technological advance in this and that, especially concerning data acquisition optimization. I also intend to work on improving the performance of mature reservoirs by optimizing this and that. The main focus is to this, that, and that, as well as this, all of which are increasing importance in the US. I intend to continue serving the United States and its energy sector in drilling and wells. The petitioner also submitted letters of recommendation to support that. But the director denied the petition still. So in denying the petition, the director determined that although the proposed Divya has substantial merit, so upon the RFE, he was able to clear the substantial merit part. The record did not establish the national importance. We are back again, national importance. As the evidence did not demonstrate the Divya's potential prospective impacts or show a wider economic effects. Okay, so the director is still back on this national importance thing. Okay, sorry. The guy was able to get the merits done all right. Okay, so he was able to show the merit all right. But still, this national importance thing was kind of suffering somehow. Okay, the national importance aspect is kind of still kind of going through a lot of scrutiny. Okay, so somebody will ask, what could this guy have done differently? Okay, concerning national importance. That is what we are going to go through right now. When you look at, well, let's say you go to Google. Okay, when you go to Google, you don't know anything at all. National interest is not about you explaining what your field is. What your field is going to do for the US. That is your own statement. The officers don't trust your statement that much. You have to print hardcore news articles to prove this. I made a video on national importance and national interest before. These are hardcore news articles which is supporting your field, okay? That the officers are looking for. So when the officers talk about hardcore evidence, it's not about you explaining, okay, my field, of course, the officer knows that the US needs oil and gas. Okay, my field is going to expand oil and gas reserves in the US. My field is going to expand oil and gas production in the US. My field is this. You're explaining in your own words, what are the evidence? Okay, so in documenting national interest, if I'm assisting this guy, that's what I would do. This is what I would do. Okay, Biden administration keen on more oil and gas drilling. I'll do a wide sweeping search like this, okay? And always prioritize news. Washington Post is credible, okay? Washington Post is credible. We know there are some environmental groups who will kind of see or block this thing. Of course, it's normal. Biden plans to outsource oil and gas industry. Okay, so Biden administration to resume leasing for oil and gas. So anything coming from the federal government, okay? Washington Post, good. So let's look at this news and see what is coming out of it. Okay, so what I'll do is that you are always going to document national interest. It's point by points. At least you need about 5 points raised to support your national interest, at least. Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, I don't like this thing. Subscribing. I don't like it. I don't like this. So I'll go back. Okay, I'll go back a bit and kind of find another news where I don't have to pay to subscribe to anything. Okay, so Biden plans to outsource US oil and gas industry. This coming from Forbes. Forbes is also a very credible source. Phase out oil. Okay, Biden administration intends to phase out oil and gas industry. This news will not support your interest, national interest, so forget it. Biden administration to resume leasing oil and gas drilling. Okay, we'll say to resume leasing oil and gas drilling or to figure out starting next week. So why is Biden trying to do this? CNBC is also a bit credible. Major mainstream media is credible. Don't select news from blog posts, okay? CNN, Forbes is quite okay. Federal government website, the White House reports are quite okay, okay? Yeah, so we realize that the Biden administration said it will resume selling leases to drill oil and gas federal lands, but with a major reduction in number of acres offered and an increase in royalties. Interior Department announced on Monday to lease out about 144,000 acres of land. Okay. The Biden, who on campaign trail called to end drilling oil, has been looking for ways to temporarily increase U.S. energy production to help drive down the gas price. Okay. So there's an interest here. Why? America is seeking to lower down gas prices. Okay. So that means, of course, it has become a necessity that they expand oil and gas drilling. So you read this whole news, analyze it, okay, quote something from this news which is interesting to support your point. So, okay, that is it. This is going to be like news article number 1. And what else can you do again? You may want to try and also look at another news article to support it, or even refine your search altogether, okay? You can refine your search altogether and do something like, okay, America to boost oil and gas drilling. Okay, you can refine your search again. Okay, U.S. drills add oil and gas rates for 3rd week in a row. Okay, why are they adding? Because energy is becoming a big deal right now in the U.S. Okay, in Texas, call to boost U.S. oil production run into hard realities. 5 reasons why the United States can't drill this way. This one will not help you. 3 reasons why big oil can't simply drill. Okay, climate change, inflation, oil producers reluctant to drill more. U.S. prepared to boost production. Political. Okay, political is not bad. U.S. oil industry prepares to boost production. Biden wants U.S. oil to drill more. Here's why, and they are holding. This news is very good. Bloomberg, okay? Biden wants more. Federal government wants more oil. It's a national interest, okay? So you can research your search in a lot of ways, read the news, analyze it into a national interest point, like a 1 paragraph stuff, and print the news as evidence. Each of these news, about 5 of them, can constitute a national interest. Then from there, you go to global. Remember that you are not only documenting national interest, you have to go to the level of a global interest, okay? And with a global interest, all right, so this, you realize that this prong test has to be what? For instance, it says that applicants show that field has merits, national interest, and even global interest, okay? So with global interest, we'll talk about global energy crisis, okay? So if I would, okay, global energy crisis. It also return a whole lot of news. Select the ones you want, which is global energy crisis, okay, Institute of Energy, whatever it is. Yeah, so some of these are global in nature. What time you can even go to the United Nations website, look at this energy policy, okay? Oil and gas policy. Anything outside the US is global, okay? How Russia-Ukraine war has accelerated a global energy crisis. It's a global nature. It's out of the US, okay? So this news from the routers can also be equal good source. Okay, so whenever you are printing news articles, select from federal government websites, federal agency like the American Institute of Energy or whatever it is. You can select from mainstream news media, which are very famous, CNN, Reuters, CNBC News, Bloomberg, Scientific American, New York Times, okay? World is in this truly global crisis. You see a lot of news articles you can read and analyze for your national interest. That is hardcore evidence. So the officer will, okay, this is what is going on in this field. Okay, good. The guy has a point. It's of national interest. We need him. Okay, that is how we document national interest. So take care of that. Documenting national interest is not about you promising what your field is and how it's going to be beneficial to the US. Of course, they already know it, but they're looking for proof. That is why when you read the further analysis, it's talking about evidence, evidence, evidence. He said that as the evidence does not demonstrate the endeavor's potential perspective. What is the evidence? He didn't print any news articles to prove that. He didn't print any media stuffs making the waves, okay, to support that. He says that the director noted that the overall importance of the petitioner's occupation does not establish the national interest. Yes, you talking about the overall importance is not in self-national interest, okay? And further noted that the petitioner did not submit evidence, sufficient evidence, news articles, okay? The petitioner did not submit sufficient evidence, did not submit news articles to prove that. So going forward, take note of that. If you are filing on national interest, you are explaining national interest based on your own promises, then you know that you are heading towards something bad. Okay, let's look at further down parts. So upon the RFE and denial, the applicant still was kind of criticizing that no, he has a good point, and that the AO decision in itself was even error after AO even said that his petition has no basis for approval. He said that, but the evidence does not suggest that the petitioner service will be available at a level that creates national or even global implications. Remember, I talked about global interest, okay, in the field of drilling and wells engineering or the oil and gas sector. Without sufficient information or evidence regarding any projected U.S. economic impact or job creation attributed to his future work, the record does not show the benefits to the U.S. regional or national economy resulting from the petitioner's services, which will reach the level of substantial positive economic effects. Okay, so how do you get the evidence? Go to the Google, type news articles concerning your area and print them and use them in your analysis. Okay, maybe evidence. Look at a news from CNN quoted this. Okay, news from the White House quoted this. A news from Bloomberg quoted this. Okay, that will make your national interest very solid. But you giving just promises out of your own will or what your field is doesn't solve the problem. Okay. On appeal, the petitioner argues that we did not properly analyze his case in comparison to the standard. The petitioner says that we are legally required to compare the impact of his work with that of Danasa and cite the concept of precedence. So the petitioner is telling them that no, you are supposed to do your job, compare what I've said to the impacts it will have. The officers cannot do your job for you. If you don't provide evidence, of course, that is it, that you are doomed. Let me give you an example. I was helping one applicant who has a medical degree and he was into public health. And this applicant got her stuff denied, her petition denied after getting RFE. You know what? First of all, the applicant didn't state his proposed endeavor. So the officer by default assumed that because he has an underlying medical degree, he needs a medical license. Okay, so the officer in the RFE asked, do you have a medical license to practice in the US? And of course, we all know that medical national interest waiver, medicine national interest waiver, physician national interest waiver is different from the normal national interest waiver. Physicians take a different route. So I said, look, you know where the problem lies? You have a public health degree, master's degree, and you have a medical degree from a country out of the US. I don't want to mention the country. But you were supposed to state your endeavor, maybe on the public health. Then the officer will down look at your petition based on public health expertise and not a medical background. So you not stating your proposed endeavor, you give the officer the option to go the default. And say, okay, because he has a medical degree, let me assume he's coming to practice medicine. Meanwhile, you're not coming to the US to do medicine. You want to practice maybe in public health. Okay, so it's some of these things that the reason why you have to state your proposed endeavor. Very much important you do that. Okay, so after all these things, then long and short of this all is that actually the petition or the appeal really was dismissed. Okay, that the person didn't have a case, and the person, because at the end we have come to notice that state your proposed endeavor and stick to it. National interest, don't bother, don't rely on your own explanations. Print hardcore news evidence, analyze the news and use it as your what? As your national interest ideas. And that is going to do some kind of magic for you. Okay. You rely on your own explanation, it's actually not going to do a very good work. Let's look at somebody who, for instance, wants to kind of come and practice here in the like community health or rural health educator field. Okay, so this person wants to come and practice as a rural health educator, or maternal health educator in the area of maternal health. So he realized that from the word go, he has to state his proposed endeavor. Okay, my proposed endeavor in the United States is in the area of rural maternal health education. That is her proposed endeavor. Okay, introduction to maternal health. Introduce, here can be your own words somehow. Introduce the officer to what a maternal health education is, its importance, and even, if possible, some rules and what it takes to become a maternal health educator, educational requirements. That is the merits, okay? And at times, bring some exhibit to support that. Don't just explain from your own words, okay? Now, after that, national interest. Your national interest. What is the national interest? Remember, news articles. U.S. government committed to bridging racial disparity in maternal health, okay? He explained this news article. This is the news article he read and cited. We move on to the next national interest. National Advisory Committee on Rural Health Service report reviews serious maternal mortality issues in rural America. It's a serious health issue, okay? So he printed a report, which is coming from a healthcare agency, healthcare organization, very credible, okay? Quality maternal health reduces U.S. healthcare spending and save federal government costs of funding the Affordable Care Act, okay? So he's trying to tell on the purpose of economic value to the U.S. And this is the news he presented, okay? Organizational news, a very reputable organization, it's also acceptable, okay? And bringing something like charts to actually support why maternal health is very important, okay? Quoted another news from U.S. Pew Research, okay? This is the link. He analyzed the news, quote something interesting in the news to support that. That is national interest. Then he goes to global interest. United Nations website, SDG goals. All right. Mention some global initiatives on maternal health. That is how we document national interest, not just about promises. So going forward, this shouldn't be a problem. If you have any problem, if you have any difficulty, you can always revert back to us, and you can always get in contact with me. Maybe I can be able to help you out, so you can deliberate on see how we can help you out on that. Okay. So that is that. At this moment, I think required, okay, let me take this moment to kind of acknowledge some of the viewers and some of the questions that may have come our way. Hopefully, somebody say, hello, sir. I'd like to thank you for everything you are doing and pray that God reward you. Okay, thank you. I'm currently running up with a master's. I want to book a private consultation or whatever it is. All right. So you can always get back to me. My email is there. You can be able to talk about your qualifications and see how you can actually file on your own. First, I was thinking I'm not coming from a national interest because of job market, but I'm a lecturer in education. So I'm motivated again. Can you send me your WhatsApp or whatever it is? Yeah, so this person in education have huge natural interest. Okay. Just go by how some of these videos even can help you to dig some of the news yourself. If you want to also get to me, you know how to go by it. Yeah, we have somebody watching from Pakistan as a PhD holder. Okay. Can I get a recommendation letter from Japan, Turkey? So he's talking about recommendation letters. Yes, of course, recommendation letters anywhere in the world is accepted, not only from the United States. Okay. Somebody said, well done, thank you. Somebody said, thank you for breaking this down for us. We appreciate you. Somebody said, great job. This was helpful. Thank you very much. Somebody said, this is the greatest EB2 video I've watched so far in this whole year. We very much appreciate you, Adam. Thank you for your response. Somebody said, I love your work. I love your efforts. I love what you are doing. Let me see if he has certain specific question. I'll go to the U.S. Embassy in my country to do status adjustment, which will not be via this, okay? Basically, no 10-year green card waiting for me. One lawyer says that basically no 10-year waiting period for me. The other is saying I'll get stuck in a 10-year waiting period, no matter how I go about it. Could you please clarify? Yeah, so your lawyers, one is saying this, one is saying the other 10. When it comes to waiting time, it depends on your nationality. If you're an Indian, probably you can get stuck. But if you're an Indian married to a citizen of another country, which is not high populated in the US, you can file like cross-chargeability. We call it cross-chargeability. Let's say you are an Indian married to a Ghanaian or Indian married to a Nigerian. You can file cross-chargeability based on your wife's citizen country. And citizen country is where you were born, not a country you have naturalized in, where you were born actually. So take note of that. Mechanical engineer in Russia. I have 7 years experience. I can take recommendation letters, but I have no Divya. I want to apply myself. I have no 15,000 for a lawyer. Okay, fine. Go ahead, do it yourself. Get all the resources you can, and you can be able to do it. Mechanical design engineer. Okay, you can narrow it down a bit. Okay, mechanical design. What do you design? Is it mechanical, automotive mechanical designing? Is it industrial mechanical designing? Take note of that. Somebody say, hi, is it mandatory to provide letters on letterhead or recommendation letters? Okay, so letters on letterhead. It's not, there's no law which says your letter has to be on letterhead, but to show that you are very credible, if you can, recommender can put it on letterhead, let him go ahead and do that for you. It will go a long way to help you, okay? But there's no law which requires all letters to be on letterhead. That is why USCIS officers look at it somehow with a bit of partiality or critical look at it, because it's not a very true objective evidence, okay? That is very helpful, Mr. Daniel. Thank you very much. Amazing lecture. Thank you very much. Somebody said you should put subtitles. Lots of words difficult to understand. Yeah, subtitles. I think I've enabled subtitles for a lot of my videos. Hopefully it should help you. Thank you very much for the feedback. Somebody said, great video. I have a question. For a person applying outside the US, when EB2 is approved, an immigrant visa is needed to enter the US. I've heard that when a person applies for immigrant visa at the US Embassy, it is often asked to provide offer letter. You see, this is a very good suggestion you are bringing. If the embassy is asking offer letter, it is you, the applicant, to convince the embassy that, see, I applied in the national interest waiver route, which waive a job offer requirements. Let the officer know that you know the visa category you are seeking, okay? Because the normal EB2 requires a job offer. Probably the officer may be sticking to maybe put you in the normal EB2. So prove to the officer that, okay, look at my approval letter. It says national interest waiver. A job offer was waived based on the national interest, so I don't need a job offer. Okay, so the officer was maybe trying to test your knowledge on the visa you are going with, to know whether you know much about what you are doing. Yeah, so that is it. Hey, thanks for the channel and help. I'm looking forward. How I should file the ETA 1099 for new case. Okay, I don't do ETA 1099, 1989. I just do ETA 750B. So that is it. Can you help me now assemble these requirements? If you need help, please reach out to us. We may be able to help you. So thank you to our cherished viewers. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for taking the time to stick with us. In the course of the week, we'll bring you another interesting analysis on denied USCIS petitions. Take care. Enjoy the week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.